So being somewhat in the self-improvement niche, I've never really heard much people relate self-improvement with psychedelics. I've heard someone like Hamza talk about it maybe once, but he never really went into good detail with it. But I really think he still lacks like some of the knowledge that somebody like I have with psychedelics. And here is my honest attempt on trying to tell you how to use psychedelics for self-improvement. So I think my first experience with psychedelics, I was maybe 14 years old. So I am a OG. I am a big time psychedelic consumer, okay? When I was a kid, I'm not gonna lie, I was super irresponsible with it. I remember I would just literally take mushrooms for no reason just to get messed up. And one time I took 12 grams because I got caught with it and my mom told me to throw it out. So I ate it, right? Had the most terrifying trip of all time, the most profound trip of all time off 12 grams of mushrooms. But yeah, I was super irresponsible. And after that trip, I think I did LSD a couple times. But once I left the country I was in and moved back to Europe, I stopped that because it's just not accessible, right? It's not accessible. A couple months ago, I went to Amsterdam, had a shroom trip, and remembered how good psychedelics were. But this time, I had experienced it in a whole different way. See, when I was a kid, there was no insight I could really gain from it, right? There wasn't many obstacles I was trying to overcome, and my life had very little meaning. You know, there wasn't anything I needed psychedelics for, right? Because I always heard, oh, psychedelics are so insightful, you can find the meaning of your life or whatever, right? All of that, and I was so hooked on it. I was like a little hippie, bro. Chilling out, trying to take drugs just to pretend like I'm doing something productive. But once I got my life in order and I took psychedelics, I got to see from a different light. I didn't enjoy it in quite the same way. Sure, it was fun and all, right? In Amsterdam, of course, I took it just for fun because, you know, I don't live there. I'm not going to go there all the time. So why not do it as a one-time thing, right? And this is where I realized that the older I got, the more I could use it for self-reflection, because sometimes we have many moments where we get stuck and we don't really know what to do in life, and we can waste months and God forbid even years of our lives trying to figure out what we want to do next. See, as men, when we have a purpose, we move forward and we feel absolutely fantastic. My very first purpose was probably fitness, right? I wanted to stop being fat, build a bunch of muscle, and I was dedicated day in, day out, and it made me feel amazing. After that, I grew my YouTube channel, which is called Boyo Boyo, right? You can go check that out, right? I'm not a random person. I didn't appear out of nowhere, by the way. I don't have a $600 mic just because I want to record these videos. No, these are just to help you out and for you to learn from my mistakes. But yeah, I was completely dedicated to that and I felt amazing, right? As a dude, if you have a purpose, you feel good if you're following it, right? But once I hit 100K, something just switched. And this is where I felt it the most. I lost the drive to continue that YouTube channel. I just didn't really like video games anymore. I started a video game channel only to realize that I don't like playing games. Real life was much more interesting to me, right? So then for the past couple of months, I've just been pondering on life and what I want to do. I've tried to start many other businesses that just didn't really capture my eye. I am working on one right now that I'm quite dedicated with right now. So right, I'm on my path. I'm doing just fine now. But this is where I pondered, could psychedelics be a shortcut to finding something like your purpose? Because they're very insightful. If you ever taken psychedelics and sat alone and pondered about your life, you'll come to find that they're very introspective. You tend to see things from different perspectives. I remember sitting down on 4 grams of mushrooms and trying to figure out what my next life purpose would be. And as stupid as it sounds, the first couple of thoughts that I got into my head is what matters to me, right? The main thing I want to figure out is what my purpose is. But before finding my purpose, I need to figure out what do I want to do. This doesn't make sense to you right now, but in the psychedelic headspace, you can visualize everything and you can really feel everything, right? So what do I want to do? What do I want to leave the world with? How do I want to better everything around me? What truly matters to me? Not what my purpose is, but what matters to me. And then you have to go through all these little loopholes in your head to figure out what you really want to do at the end of the day, what your next purpose layer is. And this is what psychedelics are perfect for. So if you ever have the chance, I recommend just like meditating with psychedelics, get a journal. You're probably not going to just like meditate the whole trip. So, you know, have fun for like the first half, but really leave like an hour or two for just self-reflection and to see what you want to do in life. A lot of people still believe psychedelics are drugs of abuse. I mean, you can get psychologically dependent on it, but they're not really addictive. Like they're serotonergic drugs. They're not dopaminergic, right? Dopaminergic, I think, would be something like nicotine, right? Cocaine, you just like blast your dopamine up. They act on a bunch of different receptors, which psychedelics don't as harshly. So you don't really crave them as much either. And I do believe that if you ever have a problem, really try to go into the psychedelic experience and just try to ask yourself more of these introspective questions, right? But yeah, still back to the people who think that psychedelics are drugs of abuse. If you do not have any abusive personality, okay, maybe there's a different way I could put it. If you are not a drug addict right now, you are not going to get hooked on psychedelics. If you don't even, okay, look, if you're not addicted to weed, you're not addicted to like cigarettes, you're not addicted to Molly, there is no way in earth you're gonna get hooked on psychedelics. Getting addicted to psychedelics is more of a personality type. Like if you consider yourself a stoner, don't do psychedelics. You're gonna get like emotionally dependent on them. I've seen this all the time. So take them with precaution, right? If you see yourself as a drug addict, you're gonna get addicted to even the drugs that can't be addicted because it's just your personality type, right? It's kind of like the person who believes that they're unlucky, so they find themselves in situations where they're getting unlucky and they subconsciously put themselves in those situations. So it's kind of the same vibe. Psychedelics, great for finding your purpose. They have cool visuals. I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna be that one straight edge guy who's like, oh bro, I only use psychedelics for finding out all my self-improvement reasons. Yeah, of course, like the first half of the trip, I like to just look at the patterns, bro, but you don't want to be carried away by that. This is not the only thing you want. Also, you could also use psychedelics as like a part. I know people say this all the time, like don't use psychedelics as a party drug, but look, it is probably one of the healthiest drugs you can take by what it does to your body. So, I mean, from now on, I'm not going to be drinking alcohol. If I ever go to a party, I'm going to be on like 2 or 3 grams of mushrooms. I think that's a nice dose to where you're over the edge a bit, you know, you have some nice visuals, you can have some fun, but you're not fully deep down in psychedelia land, right? I'd also recommend this to anyone who doesn't really drink and still wants to do something at a party. Just if you don't like drinking, bro, just don't drink. Drinking is probably the worst thing you do to your body, bro. So yeah, from now on, mark my words, I won't be drinking. I'll be just taking psychs. It's not like I party often either. Taking like psychedelics like once every half year. Anyways, I'm rambling on too much, bro. This has been it for the video. Peace out.